jazzing up your day with a touch of soul. The Living Room on 938 Live.
Welcome into the Living Room on 938 Live in an ongoing series where we chat about the show On the Red Dot, which is a Channel 5 series which airs on Wednesdays and repeats on Sundays on Channel News Asia. We go behind the scenes in this mini-series because the On the Red Dot series has mini-series packed within on various things. So the last time we spoke it was kids and youth and all kinds of crazy things that they were doing. So now we're going behind the scenes to, for example, producer Lo Min Min went behind the scenes in the big white tent of Cavalia. She probably fed a horse with an apple or something nice like that. And Po Kok Eng heads to the national parks to figure out how green we are, so to speak, right? And of course, Susanna Kulatisa is our executive producer. She helps us bring it all into focus, given I am a bit blurry this morning. So Susanna, behind the scenes, is into its third episode, I think, coming up.
Yes, it is.
And we had Lo Min Min go and check out the big tent for Cavalia.
And she met all of the horses.
Oh, that's great. You fed them all with apples, not just the one.
Carrots.
Carrots. Okay. My mistake. And so tell us a bit about behind the scenes. We've also had behind the scenes look at SCDF and firefighters. So what was the impetus for this particular project, this particular mini-series?
We realized when we did Work in Progress, which is actually following a day in the life of somebody in an interesting job, that there was a lot of interest, and people, I think, love stories about people. So we said, what about looking at the mega structures that are in Singapore and how it, who makes it tick, what happens behind the scenes, and to give our viewers a sneak peek, really, into what happens, yeah.
Better than just what we know on the surface, right? So we always think, these blokes are all... They are, though. Let's be clear, SCDF firefighter blokes are all fit and all that, but what happens behind the scenes? I mean, they're humans too. Do they perhaps get scared? Do they have maybe strange little rituals that they might need to adhere to?
Well, we went, the producer, Yati, went to the central... Alvina went to the central fire station and sort of embedded herself there for I don't know how many days.
That's the best
and
way,
actually
right?
went out on the fire engines and stuff and came back with all these stories. But the guys are all busy. I mean, it's not like you're just waiting for a call to happen. They're training and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, there were
a lot of false alarms.
There were a lot of false alarms. There were actually more. Okay, during February to July, they received at least 700 fire and rescue calls. And one of the officers said more than 100 calls were in the past 6 months were like false alarms. So, it's terrible. They actually get on they gear up, they get on the engine, and they go out, and Alvina said in like 30 seconds, 1 minute, they were back, only to find that it was actually a false
Someone had
alarm.
accidentally burned themselves with a lighter or
No,
something.
it was a hoax. It was,
Oh, no.
So that's terrible. That's quite bad.
Okay, so that really sort of debunks. We think they're sitting there twiddling thumbs, cross-legged and watching TV, but no, they're actually, whilst they're free, they're training.
Yeah.
And they're also going out to do like spot checks on restaurants and all that to make sure they have the proper fire safety requirements, right?
Right.
That's right. They did, I think, about 12,000 checks last year on fire safety. Yeah.
Just to make sure that we don't burn ourselves to bits. Right, so we're behind the scenes. The show is called Behind the Scenes, the mini-series anyway, on the Red Dot, the series. And Min, you went to check out the big white tent of Cavalia. It's all the rage. I mean, everyone's talking about it, these beautiful creatures. What were they like?
Well, they're very well traveled. They travel to
probably more than
different
us, right?
cities every 2 months, more than most people do in their lifetimes, I think. And I think they have a pretty good life because according to the artist, they, get 2 to 3 hours of exercise every day outside if it's not raining. And then they have short rehearsals, and they go on stage each horse go on stage for about 5 to 7 minutes, which is not a lot of work for them. And every 2 months, after performing at each city, they get about 2 weeks of vacation. And so a good life for them, I think, and they treat the horses really well.
Now, Min's produced this particular episode, which will air again on Sunday on Channel News Asia, behind the scenes at Cavalia, the big white tent, right? I wanted to ask you if you knew, because I was always wondering about it as soon as I heard that this show was coming. During the show, what happens to the poo?
To the pool? You mean on stage?
No, to the poo.
Oh, to the pool. Oh, they have... They have, I think, a team of cleaners who would scoop up the poo.
Okay.
Wherever.
I know, strange where my
before.
mind goes. When I was a kid, I went to a circus and I saw an elephant poo in front of me, and it was as big as a bowling ball. So that's going to impede other performers when they come. So I was wondering, was it the same there? I mean, big bowl of poo.
No,
ball
it's
of
not
poo.
like a big bowl. I saw like small piles, like.
But still, it might impede the next horse coming to run. So they do have cleaners who just regularly come in. Well-oiled machine
You
there.
seem worried about this.
I was a bit, in case of a tripping horse and that kind of thing. So, Kong Ing, let me ask you about how you went behind the scenes to find out how green we are at the national parks, also at our orchid gardens. Where else did you head?
I went to the Sungai Buloh Wetland Reserve, where they're taking part in this international project to track the birds as they travel from Australia to Russia and back. So they would capture some of the birds and actually put a ring on the legs. just to
Okay.
track,
So that's what ringing birds means. I
Yes.
thought, I don't know, give them a little bell or something whilst they perform. But no.
a tag to say to show that they've been to Singapore and things like that.
What was the purpose, though, of tracking them?
Just to find out if there are any changes in their patterns, especially now that we have climate change and all. Yeah.
So the migratory patterns, whether or not
Yes.
they change.
Yeah.
So how does that help in research or helping the birds out as they survive in the wild?
How does that help? Well, I guess you'll have to tune in to find out.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
be asking
No
the expert
secrets
on that.
given. Always. We never get the scoop here, We're going to find out more in just a bit. With us today, the producers of the mini-series called Behind the Scenes. It's part of On the Red Dot, which is a Channel 5 series which airs on Wednesdays at 9 o'clock. And there's a repeat on Sunday, 10:30 p.m. on Channel News Asia. Stay with us on The Living Room, 938 Live.
The Living Room on 938 Live. Time now to rejoin The Living Room on 938 Live.
Thanks for staying with us on The Living Room on 938 Live. We're chatting about the series On the Red Dot, and it has a mini-series called Behind the Scenes, which is currently now on. We just saw last night on Channel 5 the episode about heading behind the white tent, or behind the scenes at the white tent of Cavalia. You're supposed to feed horses carrots, not apples. Apparently, apples might make them fatter. I don't know. With us today, the producers of the show, Po Kong Ing, who heads to find out whether or not Singapore is really green and what's happening with our wildlife and nature reserves, I suppose. And also Lo Min Min, who was the one who went behind the scenes to capture these beautiful horses. You can catch a repeat of that particular episode on Channel News Asia this Sunday at 10:30 p.m. And to put it all into focus for us, Susanna Kulatisa, who's the executive producer of the series. Has it been challenging to come up with different mini-series for this particular show, Susanna? I know up next it'll be For a Better World.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, it's been quite fun. I think it's the team also, comes up with ideas, and we brew and yeah, it's been fun. I think. I don't know. Is that true?
I don't know. The looks on the faces of Min and Kok Ing here perhaps tell another story.
Speak.
I love the next series, actually, For a Better World, where we went around the region to find out Singaporeans who start up social enterprises throughout, like in Cambodia and Indonesia. So that was really eye-opening for me.
Okay. Yeah. And Min, are you having a good time producing shows? I mean, you look like you're 12.
You say that too. Yeah.
She's 13,
Yeah.
actually.
Oh, you're 13. Sorry, 13. Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I got to watch a free 45 minutes preview of the Cavalia, and yeah, people have been asking me for tickets, and I said no, I don't have them.
I don't control it,
Yes.
I just produced the show. But that's something that you possibly deal with a lot as you go from place to place and produce shows on particular things, that people might come up to you thinking that you have all the answers and have all the tickets and have all the inroads, right?
Yeah, and it's not that easy actually, because contrary to what people think, it's not that easy to get access, and sometimes we have to go begging people to let us, go down for a day to film, and, let us interview this person, let us see the horses, and yeah.
For this particular instant, what were their concerns? That the lights
for-
maybe of the camera might affect the horses?
Yes, that's one. The horses like certainty. So if suddenly we shine a bright light on horses, that's difficult.
So they
And
like
also-
their routine, so to speak.
Yes, they do. And if we, interview someone and there are horses behind and they're moving a lot and it's distracting to the viewer, you're not going to listen to the interviewee speak because there's all this distracting
Activity,
animals
right.
behind. And we have to take everything in one take because the horses are not going to repeat anything for you if you miss it.
Here, horsey, can you do that again? No.
Yeah, so the choreographer was telling me that they took a really long time to actually craft this whole show, and to make a 1 minute change to the show they need 2 hours or more to make sure that the horses really get what's going on, and that's a long time compared to if you're just working with humans, you take like 5 minutes to complete.
Yeah,
a
yell
1
at
minute
them and
change.
it's all good.
Yeah.
Hopefully. What about you, Cocking? What were some of the challenges as you did your episode on the wetlands and the national parks and the orchid gardens?
Actually, I had a lot of help from MParks people who shared with me their projects. For example, now that they have greened up Singapore streets pretty well, they're going upwards. So they're promoting
okay.
sky-rise greenery. I didn't know that the MParks actually subsidizes up to 50% of green efforts by building existing buildings. So I checked out this the world's largest green wall near Raffles Place at this Ocean Financial Center.
Okay.
And
What
it's
an odd
actually-
place to have a green wall.
Yeah, it's actually a car park, but they've turned the outside into this huge map of the world, and they've depicted that using different shades of plants. So it was quite fascinating. And then on the other side, there's a map of Singapore, and the third side shows the map of Southeast Asia. So, and all this is, there's very little maintenance involved. So there's auto irrigation, auto fertilization, so it's quite fascinating.
What about if it were a rainy day and not much sun coming out to sort of help the plants out? Did they have backup plans, perhaps, to shine a UV light on the plants?
No, I think they're very low maintenance plants. These
Right.
are chosen so that
They're
you
very
don't-
hardy.
Yeah, that's right. You don't need to care for them a lot, and they'll just thrive in typical Singapore climate. Yeah.
As you go from episode to episode, do you find yourselves more interested in certain things? For example, have you maybe gotten yourself a green thumb now? I've decided to plant something at home, Cocking.
I think that's like a mission impossible for me.
What about you, Min? After the episode with Cavalia, do you now want to have a pony?
Not really. I think it will be really high maintenance. You need to have like a big field for them to run in or something. But I think this job allows me to gain a lot of empathy for different people in different walks of life, and just learning about them. What is it like to be in their shoes for a day?
It's been great fun chatting with you. We've been chatting with the producers of the show On the Red Dot. The mini-series Behind the Scenes is currently airing. Just on Wednesday, we saw the episode on Cavalia as Min went behind the scenes at the big white tent of Cavalia. Coming up, we've got the night race next week on Wednesday, and the week after that we'll have Kong Ing's episode on in parks and the wetlands and ringing birds. You'll have to find out what that's about, because I just figured it out, but I'm going to let you figure it out in the weeks to come when the episode finally airs. Now, if you want to catch some of these episodes that you've missed, you can always head to channelnewsasia.com/TV. And a big thank you to Lo Min Min, Po Kong Ing, and Susanna Kulatisa, who's executive producer of the series On the Red Dot, again airing Wednesdays on Channel 5, Sunday on Channel News Asia. Thanks, guys, for joining us today.
Thanks, Howie.
Thank
you.
Jazzing up your day with a touch of soul. The Living Room on 938 Live.